In 2006, 15-year-old Anita sat in front of her computer, trying to create a photoblog account. She was excited to share pictures online, completely focused on the screen in front of her. Behind her, her older sister Louisa banged on the door, yelling for her to hurry up. "Anita, we're going to be late for school," Louisa shouted, but Anita ignored her. She was too busy setting up her account to care. With a frustrated sigh, she muttered, "I can't wait to be an adult." She imagined a life where no one would tell her what to do. Finally, after a few more clicks, she uploaded her very first photo. The scene shifts to the year 2021. Anita is now 30 years old, sitting alone in her small, messy apartment. It's not the life she once imagined. She hasn't achieved anything special, and her days mostly consist of being alone with her cat. Her love life is a disaster, and she barely speaks to anyone. Then her phone rings. It's her mother. "Anita, don't forget your flight tomorrow. Louisa's wedding is this weekend," her mother reminds her. Anita's stomach sinks. The thought of going back to her hometown, seeing all those people and facing the past makes her feel sick. Since Anita has no other choice, she gets on the flight and travels to her hometown. When she arrives at the wedding, she feels completely out of place. She keeps reminding herself that it will all be over soon and she can go back to the safety of her home. Her sister Louisa takes one look at her outfit and laughs. "You're wearing your old prom dress," Louisa smirks. "No wonder you're still single." Anita feels terrible, but she doesn't say anything. As if that wasn't bad enough, she runs into her old high school bullies. They make fun of her, just like they used to, making her feel small and worthless. Just when she thinks she can't take it anymore, a familiar voice calls her name. "Anita!" She turns and sees Enrique K., her old best friend. He steps in, scaring off the bullies without even trying. Seeing him again makes Anita feel safe, and she realizes she still has a crush on him. They start talking, catching up on lost time. But then, Enrique asks, "So, how's life in the city?" Anita doesn't know what to say. She doesn't want to admit that her life isn't what she hoped for. Embarrassed, she quickly excuses herself and hurries to the restroom. There, she runs into her cousin, Carol. At first, she's happy to see her, but something seems off. Carol looks tired and unhappy. After talking for a bit, Anita learns the truth. Carol's life is nothing like she wanted it to be. She once dreamed of becoming an Olympic champion, but she gave up on that dream because of her husband, Eduardo. Now she has no control over her own life. Eduardo makes all the decisions, and Carol just follows along. "I gave up everything for him," Carol says softly, "and now I feel like I have nothing." Anita looks at her cousin and feels a deep sadness. She knows that feeling all too well. Later in the bathroom, Anita catches Eduardo kissing another woman. Shocked and furious, she starts yelling at him, drawing everyone's attention. She immediately tells Carol what a terrible husband he is. Eduardo tries to cover up by lying, claiming that Anita was the one who made a move on him. The situation causes a huge scene, and Louisa, already frustrated, snaps. "This is my wedding day," Louisa shouts. "You just can't help but steal attention, can you?" Hurt and humiliated, Anita runs to her old bedroom and throws herself onto the bed. She feels overwhelmed, wishing she could go back in time and change everything. Trying to distract herself, she opens her old computer and remembers the photo blog she created when she was 15. To her surprise, she still remembers the password. As she scrolls through old pictures, a wave of nostalgia hits her. Suddenly, the power flickers, making a loud buzzing sound. Before she can react, everything spins, and when she opens her eyes, she's back in 2006, 15 years old again. At first, Anita thinks she's dreaming, but it doesn't take long for her to realize this is real. Somehow, she has traveled back in time. She may look 15, but inside, she still feels like a 30-year-old. As the shock fades, she sees this as a chance to fix her life. Life has given her a second shot, and she won't waste it. Then she realizes something even bigger. Her father is still alive. Overcome with emotion, she rushes to find him, but just as she reaches the door, he leaves for a trip. She misses him by seconds. Later, Anita, Enrique, and Carol head to their first day of high school. They're all nervous about the older students, who are known for picking on freshmen. But Anita already knows what's coming. This time she's prepared. Instead of waiting around to be bullied, she drags Enrique to the library, keeping them out of trouble. Meanwhile, Carol isn't so lucky. She meets Eduardo, who steps in to rescue her from the bullies. But Anita knows the truth. As Anita and Enrique spend more time together, it becomes clear that Enrique has a crush on her, but he's too nervous to say anything, and Anita remains completely unaware of his feelings. While hiding in the library, they meet a senior named Caesar, who quickly becomes their friend. Caesar admits that even though he's older, he still hides from bullies every day because he's different. His honesty makes Anita respect him even more, and the three form an instant bond. After some time, they assume the bullies have left and step outside. but they're wrong. Almost immediately, they are surrounded by three boys, Eduardo, Fabricio, and Joel. They form a circle of shame, a cruel game where they publicly humiliate weaker students. Eduardo is the worst of them all, while Joel seems to just follow along, not brave enough to stand up to his friends. But this time, things are different. Anita refuses to back down. Instead of cowering, she fights back, tearing them apart with sharp words. She exposes their insecurities, humiliates them one by one, and even predicts how miserable their lives will be in the future. The crowd watching is stunned. No one expected Anita to fight back, let alone completely destroy the bullies with her words. For the first time, Eduardo and his friends are the ones left embarrassed. After school, Anita hangs out with her new friend Caesar. They get piercings together and take fun pictures. Later at home, Anita uploads one of the pictures to her photo blog, only to suddenly find herself back in 2021. Shocked, she realizes her ears are still pierced, proving that her past actions have changed the present. Even more surprising, her roommate is now Camellia, the same person who was once Caesar. As she adjusts to these changes, Anita runs into Joel, one of her old bullies. To her surprise, he thanks her. He remembers how she humiliated him in school and admits that it pushed him to turn his life around. Later, Camellia tells Anita she got a follow request from Leonard, the guy Anita had a huge crush on in high school. But instead of accepting, Anita simply shrugs. "I've cried enough over him," she says, and declines the request. Anita is overjoyed with her new life. Everything seems better. Her job, her confidence, and even her apartment, which is now beautiful and well decorated. Excited, she returns to her old photo blog to see what other changes she has made. But the moment she logs in, she is suddenly pulled back into 2006. Realizing that the photo blog is a portal for time travel, Anita decides to use it to fix things, starting with Carol. She knows Eduardo will only make her cousin miserable in the future, so she plans to keep them apart. In 2006, Carol is getting ready for a date with Eduardo, but Anita tries to stop her. She warns Carol that Eduardo is a liar and a cheater, but Carol, blinded by love, refuses to believe her. She insists that Eduardo is a good guy and ignores Anita's warnings. Determined to change her cousin's fate, Anita turns to Caesar's older brother, Fabricio. Since he is one of Eduardo's close friends, he knows many of his secrets and could help expose him. However, Fabricio has a condition. He has a crush on Luisa and will only help if Anita sets him up with her sister. Fabricio sets his plan in motion by introducing Eduardo to another girl and arranging a date for them. He then informs Anita about the time and place, ensuring that Carol will catch Eduardo in the act. Meanwhile, Carol is excited about her upcoming date with Eduardo, completely unaware of what's about to happen. Wanting to be supportive, Anita helps her get ready and encourages her to go. Later, Anita arrives at the location and, just as expected, catches Eduardo kissing another girl. Watching her cousin's boyfriend betray her right before her eyes is heartbreaking. Overwhelmed with emotions, Anita bursts into tears and stumbles into the street, not noticing an approaching car. The next moment, everything goes black. Due to the accident, Carol ends up with a fractured arm, devastating her even more. She had been preparing for the championship handball game, and now, because of her injury, she won't be able to play. At the hospital, Enrique and Anita stay by Carol's side, trying to comfort her. As they sit together, Carol finally asks, "How did you know Eduardo would cheat on me?" Anita hesitates before answering. She can't reveal the truth about time travel, so she simply shrugs and says, "I just had a feeling. He's a terrible person." Anita meets with Fabricio and begs him to keep quiet about their involvement in Carol's accident. But instead of agreeing, he starts blackmailing her. He still wants her to set him up with Luisa, and now he's using the accident as leverage. Anita is stuck. Luisa is already dating Douglas, the man she will eventually marry, so convincing her to date Fabricio seems impossible. Desperate, she tries to push the idea during a game of truth or dare. Luisa admits that she likes Fabricio too, but she refuses to date him because she's already in a relationship. Meanwhile, Eduardo is spending time with his other girlfriend when Joel suddenly approaches them. With a smirk, he tells the girl that Eduardo has been dating Carol too, and that Carol's accident happened because she found out about his cheating. But Joel doesn't stop there. He also reveals that Fabricio and Anita were behind everything. Eduardo's girlfriend is furious. Without hesitation, she exposes the entire situation to the school. The news spreads quickly, and soon everyone is talking about how Anita caused Carol's accident. Students start blaming her, whispering behind her back, and calling her a terrible person. Overwhelmed with guilt and shame, Anita retreats to her secret hideout, the only place she feels safe. She just wanted to help Carol, but everything has gone horribly wrong. After some time, Enrique finds her. He sits beside her, clearly concerned. "I need to tell you something," he says hesitantly, trying to find the right words. But Anita is too lost in her own guilt to notice his nervousness. She sighs and admits, "Carol's accident was my fault." Enrique's expression shifts. His face, once filled with warmth, turns cold. He had always admired Anita, but hearing her confess to causing so much pain changes everything. Disappointed, he stands up. "I thought you were better than this," he says before walking away, leaving Anita alone with her regrets. Anita meets Caesar and his friend Leonard for lunch, remembering how adult Camellia once had a crush on Leonard. Wanting to help Caesar, she blurts out his feelings for Leonard and encourages them to be together, but the plan backfires. Leonard is furious, insisting that he is not gay. He believes Caesar put Anita up to this, and feeling betrayed, ends their friendship. Now Caesar is angry at Anita for ruining his friendship, while Carol is also upset with her for meddling in her personal life. Meanwhile, Enrique visits Carol in the hospital, comforting her, and the two share a heartfelt moment. Later, Fabricio confesses to Anita that he genuinely cares for Luisa and only wants to make her happy. Anita finally understands his feelings and apologizes for failing to convince her sister. Just then, Luisa and their mother arrive, and Fabricio leaves. Inside, the family starts planning Luisa's 17th birthday party. As a surprise, Luisa gives Anita a new dress and asks her to try it on. When Anita puts it on, she opens her photo blog, and in an instant, she is transported back to the future. Anita discovers that her actions in the past have altered the present. She no longer lives with Camellia and is now in a relationship with Joel. Shocked, she also learns that Carol and Enrique married 5 years ago, with her as the maid of honor. Realizing her feelings for Enrique too late, Anita is torn between regret and not wanting to ruin Carol's happiness. When Joel tries to kiss her, she refuses, and he storms off. Unhappy with this new reality, she returns to the photo blog and travels back to 2006. Overjoyed to see her father, knowing he will soon pass away, she hugs him tightly. As they spend time together, Anita confesses her failed attempts to help her friends. Her father advises her to focus on her own growth rather than trying to fix others like broken objects. Determined to stop interfering in others' lives, Anita chooses instead to seek forgiveness from her friends. The next morning, she approaches Enrique, and together they visit Carol at a church. Though still upset, Carol listens as Anita sincerely apologizes, admitting she overstepped. Realizing Eduardo isn't right for her, Carol forgives Anita. To lighten the mood, Enrique sings, and as Anita watches him, she recognizes her love for him. However, seeing Carol's affectionate gaze, she decides to suppress her feelings, knowing they will marry in the future. The three then visit Caesar, whose father reveals he has been secluded in his room for days. Anita apologizes, assuring him she never meant to hurt him, and with Carol and Enrique's support, they encourage him to move forward. They then go to Leonard's house to make amends, but Leonard refuses to reconcile, bitterly cutting ties. It is revealed that he has feelings for Caesar, but is too afraid to admit it. Anita urges him to embrace his true self to avoid lifelong regret, but Caesar realizes Leonard is not the friend he thought he was, and decides to move on. The four of them, Anita, Enrique, Carol, and Caesar, leave together, sharing a heartfelt group hug. As Luisa prepares for her 17th birthday, she grows anxious and turns to her boyfriend Douglas for support. However, he is too absorbed in video games to listen, leaving her feeling isolated. Confiding in Anita, Luisa admits she feels pressured to be perfect, especially since her mother is thrilled about her dating Douglas, who comes from the wealthiest family in town. Though she likes him, she realizes she can't see a future with him, but fears disappointing her mother by ending things. Anita encourages her to prioritize her own happiness and surround herself with those who truly care about her. Reflecting on her feelings, Luisa thinks of Fabricio and decides to ask him out. That night they meet, and she opens up about feeling trapped by expectations. Fabricio urges her to let go, and as they share a kiss, she finally feels free. Meanwhile, Joel texts Anita, admitting she was right about Eduardo being a bully and that he has cut ties with him. Anita enjoys chatting with Joel, finding him funny and kind. Jokingly, he asks if she's a time traveler since she always seems to know things in advance. However, Anita grows paranoid, fearing he may have uncovered her secret. Enrique and Carol decide to go to the party together. Anita helps Caesar get ready for the party. The birthday party is in full swing, and everyone is enjoying themselves. Anita is worried that Joel might be onto her secret and tries to hide from him. She spots Carol and Enrique together and gets visibly jealous. Fabricio sees Luisa kissing her boyfriend and is upset too. Douglas, Luisa's boyfriend, gifts her a costly bracelet, but Luisa doesn't seem to like it very much. She doesn't vocalize her opinions though. Fabricio sees the entire thing and is visibly sad. Anita tries to cheer him up, and Enrique sees them together and gets bitter. Carol joins him, and they kiss but decide to stay just friends. Joel spots Anita, Enrique, and Cesar on the dance floor and joins them. He tries to hang out with Anita, but she turns him down. He is heartbroken. Fabricio gives Luisa a handmade dolphin sculpture as a gift. He tries to kiss her, but she rejects him. Still on the dance floor, Leo approaches Cesar. He apologizes to him, but Eduardo comes and makes fun of both of them. Leo and Eduardo get in a fight, and Cesar is badly hurt. Fabricio starts the fight again, and Luisa throws Eduardo out of the party. Anita ices Fabricio's injury, and Enrique watches the entire scene sadly. sadly. Caesar runs after Leo. He begs him to give their relationship a chance, but Leo is reluctant. The pair kiss, and Leo tells him that he is Theo, Caesar's online boyfriend. Caesar is left alone and is heartbroken. Joel comforts him and dances with him. He later accidentally falls into the pool. Anita helps him and apologizes for her harsh words. He tells her that he knows she has a secret and already knows that he was going to fall in the pool, but he tells her not to worry because he won't force it out of her. They cut the birthday cake, and Fabrizio makes a scene. Luisa is very upset and runs away. She fights with her mom, who is troubled by what Fabrizio implied in the party. Douglas is alone in the bathroom when Carol walks in on him. She gives him company and tries to comfort him. Enrique spots Anita alone and tries to kiss her, but she rejects him. He redraws the star on her shoes when she isn't noticing. Luisa runs away from the house. Anita learns about her father's illness and is worried. She asks him if he would like to share anything with her, but he denies it. Anita realizes that she would have to go back to the present and writes a very emotional message for all her friends on Photoblog. She returns to the present. Her current life seems perfect in every aspect. She has her own photography studio and a fantastic house. Douglas and Carol are together now. Carol informs her that she's going to Olympics with her team. Enrique is now a musician and has been living in Paris for the last 10 years. Camilla is a famous author and really good at what she is doing. All of her friends seem to have a perfect life. Anita then goes to Paris and meets Enrique. They hang out with each other and Anita learns that he used to love her. She attends one of his gigs. While watching the stars, Enrique finally kisses Anita again, and she reciprocates. Meanwhile, Joel is preparing for his first dinner date with Anita. He is really excited about it, but is stood up by her. Anita chooses Enrique above him, and he is heartbroken. He looks at Anita's old blog and feels stupid for confessing his love. Luisa finally calls Anita in the middle of the night. She tells her that she hasn't spoken to their mother in years. She seems to be having a really shitty life and asks Anita to enjoy hers. Anita believes she is to be blamed for all of this and thinks of undoing everything. She tries logging into her photoblog again, but is unable to do so. Catching on to the fact that something shady is going on, Joel does the same and can get in. The series ends with Joel traveling back in time, and he is a young boy again.